Good morning. Hi, Rhonda. Hi, all.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, Rhonda, I'm making you a co-host so you can let people in. I don't do it.
Okay.
How are you guys?
Good.
Tell me something good.
Hey, Carol, can I ask a quick question before we start?
Yes, you absolutely can.
It's totally off the topic, but I'm going to go show a house to a client today that there is no property disclosure statement, but there is a form in there. It says it's a property disclosure exclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean that there won't be a regular property disclosure, or what does that exactly mean?
It exactly means that the person who's selling the house has not lived in the house. So it could be a landlord, it could be a death in the family,
Okay.
it could be a trust. And so they are giving a statement that says that they don't know anything about the house.
Oh, okay.
And so no, there will not be a seller's property disclosure because they have already said that they don't know anything about the house. Did you look through the exclusion? Did you read?
Yeah, it's checked that it could either be a foreclosure, an estate, or
It could be, yeah, bank owned.
Yep.
So it could be have foreclosed. So the bank now has control over it. The bank knows nothing about it. So it's somebody who does not, like if grandma dies, and you're representing to sell the house, it would be the family, and the family, even though they probably know a lot about the house, they don't know anything about the house. So.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to confirm because he always asks for the property disclosures, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And does it have a pre-inspection done on it?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that TikTok that somebody posted right like at the same time that I did? So I took mine down, but it's the guy that's selling the apple.
No.
It's actually.
Oh, I saw that this morning.
It's totally like our market. Like,
yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the green
apple is $5. Well, now it's 10. Now it's, and you can't touch the apple because it's an apple. You should know what it is. And yeah, it's just completely Tim, did you see that?
It's very funny. Yeah.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute.
awful.
It was well done.
Yeah, it was. So, did you hear from anybody who said they weren't gonna? Oh, here's
Nope.
two more. Here's
Nope,
two
not
more.
not a word.
We're coming.
I'm almost at the office, by the way. So.
Okay. Good haircut.
Thanks. I also got new glasses. Ooh.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah, they're blue.
They're the same Ray-Bans,
Oh yeah.
but different color. Yeah, I love the Ray-Ban glasses. I have some, but they're my old prescription, and I didn't get the new ones. So
I buy these online as sunglasses, and then I take them to my local eye doctor, and he swaps lenses in for me. So,
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So these are actually sunglasses, but they're Ray-Ban.
Yeah. Well, I have a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses that I could do that same thing with.
Yep.
I really like the amount of space that they have, like that you can see out of.
Yep.
So, okay, we've got enough to get going here. So should we talk a little bit about Tim's email that he sent out, so we can get that out of the way and see that what our schedule is. So we have one more class left in this 14-week series. It seems like we've been on here for a year. And then, so next week, we want everybody to be here, please, because this is the final class for this. And we will invite Tom and Leslie to come as well. So you guys will have accomplished something really big. What I would like you to do, and I'll give you like some homework before we get to the end and everybody wants to leave the call, including Tim and I. I would like you to kind of just think about the question that I'm going to ask you is, what were your expectations when you came into this class, and what have you gotten from it? And just some highlights of things that are very usable, and some systems that you now have in place that you didn't or didn't even know that you didn't, or that you would even need them. So kind of just a summation of what it's been, for you in the class. Have all of you been in since the very beginning, or did any of you come in during during the class and still have others others to make up? Okay. The other thing I want to tell you is, if you want to, on May 10th, we're going to start this again. And if you want to jump into that class, for not, you don't have to pay or start all over again with the whole system. You've already got it set up. You are more than welcome to come into the class and re-review, because I'm sure that the first 5 or 6 classes you're like, deer in the headlights. But then it kind of tends to come together, as you can see. So there is definitely a rhythm to what we're doing and how it all came together. So anybody who wants to do that, just let Tim, Rhonda, whoever, myself know, and or all of the above, and we'll put you into the class. There will be probably, I think Tim said, maybe 10 new agents that will be coming into the class. And I find that people who have just recently taken the class can be actually as helpful, if not more, than agents who are experienced. So you've figured out how to learn and how to actually, what works and what you spit out. So, any of these classes are going to be, you're going to get, hit with a fire hose of information, and you take what works for you, take a few things that are a challenge, that you really need to stretch in order to do, and the rest of it you spit out. So we don't expect you to have done every single thing, but we do hope that you've put some systems in place. So next week we're going to ask about that, have you tell us, and particularly Tom and Leslie, and Tom and Tim are investing in you, in any new agents. And so, they just want to know if this is a good investment. Should we keep on doing this? And how do we want to know too, how do we do it different, which we've taken some great stuff from you guys, honestly. That will set our next series of both mentor classes and 100 Days to Greatness in place in a completely different way. Rhonda will be doing a new calendar of the classes. It'll be the same classes, and we're gonna add 1 or 2, or we're gonna change a couple of them around, but just the order of when we do those classes for mentoring. So so that'll all be coming out pretty soon. So you'll get a break between next week and May 10th, and we welcome you to come back to that or the mentor classes. So Katie.
So sorry, go ahead.
You're okay, Kathy. Go on ahead and I'll go after you.
Oh, I was just wondering if they'll be recorded, like this one was. So if we're not able to attend at the live time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're on a recording frenzy, so we're just gonna keep on. Same thing. We'll just keep recording and spit out what we don't want to eat. So, yeah. Any other questions on that?
I just wanted to add, this has just been wonderful. And thank you so much for the opportunity to kind of do a retake, because I guarantee we will get something new and different, out of these next sessions too, now that we've got this 100 days under our belt. So thank you for extending the invitation.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And from what I've learned and know is I can take the same class that I took 5 years ago and get something different out of it. I can take the same class that I took 6 months ago and get something different, because look how our market's changing and look how things are changing. So I think we'll always be talking about very contemporary things that are happening right now. And that may be a different conversation completely. We may look at like the 3rd or 4th mentor class we had last time and then talk about it this time, and it'll be like two completely different conversations. So I just hope that that works for you if possible, because I don't know how it could be bad. I don't know how it could work against you. So, and we're always here to help you. So once you get into this mentor program and doing the 100 Days to Greatness, you got us as mentors forever. So I don't think there's an end to mentorship. Not with Tim and I, anyway.
Here forever.
So, yeah. Do you want to add something, Tim?
No, I say we're here forever. I'm totally with you. And I love the idea that you guys can come pop in anytime you want into any of these 100 Days to Greatness classes. I will say, you guys are all new at this, but in the fall, we often do some type of Buffini class, peak experience, or there was a class once called Peak. Now it's the Mastery. There's all these things. And I always take the classes in the fall for myself as a refresher for the spring. And even though I've taken lots of different Buffini classes, being engrossed in it gives me structure, it gives me something to do, it puts me in front of my clients, it forces me to do a pop by when I don't want to do one. So I find myself always kind of in a Buffini class.
Yeah, and Tim and I are talking about whether we do so there is a essentials mastery class, and then there is the advanced mastery. We did the advanced this year. We didn't go back and do the essentials, but the essentials is an excellent class, and it's just another renewal. So Tim and I are talking about whether we're going to do that one in between now and September when we do the advanced mastery, and we'll let you guys know. So that would be your next step, just so you know. So you go from 100 Days to Greatness to essentials to mastery. Some of you, may want to go right to the advanced, just because it's just a little step up of some things that may or may not be something you're ready for yet, and we'll help you to decide that. So this week 13, standout customer service. Everybody watch it? Yeah. It was a little bit longer than the other ones. It was 31 minutes, something like that. But you can't talk enough about customer service or customer care or whatever it is that means that you take special, pay attention especially to your clients, and do what Brian refers to is a lot of the unexpected extras. And I think that's who we are as a company. The Good Life Group is a company filled with people who do unexpected extras, because I think as a company, we do that. Just broadly do a lot of unexpected extras that are not necessarily expected. So I want to get some feedback from any of the ideas or any thoughts that you had after watching this week's class. So this is going to be, I want a lot of your participation in this class, because I can talk to you about customer service and things that have worked for me. We can add, Tim can add some of the incredible stuff that he's done for his clients, and doesn't even actually know that it's incredible anymore, because he's so used to just having these systems in place where he does the stuff. So let's get some feedback on this week's class and what your thoughts were, and any kind of, did it intimidate you thinking of having to do the kinds of things that he talked about? Did it give you some good ideas? Let's talk about that. So who wants to talk first? Bridget, you unmuted yourself. Thank you.
So I guess what really stuck with me was thinking about what types of things that I would do to go the extra mile.
Okay.
And he had a couple of really good ideas, and it just kind of, I don't know, I'm not a naturally creative person, but when he was talking about just kind of listening and trying to pick up on some things, I thought that was really good. And it kind of made me try to think outside of the box, the extra things I could do besides just, what is expected, I guess.
Yeah. So so listening beyond what the original conversation is kind of how I see it. Is you can get so into the having the conversation about a particular topic and thinking, oh my God, I have to have all the right answers, that you miss hearing some of the things that make them happy. So I think that's what you picked up on, and that's excellent. That above whatever those things are, the fact that it turned on that kind of that reticular activator of yours that says, oh, like really actually listen. And then guess what you do? You write it down. Like, what's their favorite restaurant? What are places where they, their kids go to school? One of the things that I know many agents that do this is, like drop by their own kid's school or their client's kid's school. Like when school starts, with a basket full of, little snacks and things for the admin office or something, on behalf of their kids or their clients' kids, which are, some really cool things to do. So listening to anything that makes them happy, things that they're interested in. So that's good. That's a good point. Who else? Corey, you were kind of smiling. That says to me you got something to say. So
I can come up with something to say. No, it's just it's just good for me to kind of step back and get to see it from a person-to-person standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
What I came from before was retail, and I got out of retail because I hated how much they didn't care about the customer anymore. So it's been good for me to be able to really implement that caring side of things and making this a person-to-person interaction, which I lost in the last couple of years of working retail. So
as a guy, is it uncomfortable for you, some of the kinds of things that are suggested, touchy-feely? Because I know many guys are like, I'm not doing that, like a Popeye, like that's stupid, like stand there with a thing that you dig the dirt with, or some flowers for Mother's Day or something. That's a girl thing. So as a guy, does that make you feel uncomfortable to do that? Because it just sounds like you want to.
I would say no, just because of kind of, so no, because I was the only child for a while. So my mom always joked that I was a mama's girl and a daddy's boy at the same time. So that was my blessing and curse at the same time growing up. So I like some of that stuff. I've got now, my mom's divorced, so I spoil her, and then my wife, obviously she would never admit that I spoil her, but I do. So
yeah, sweet. That's great. I like that. Some of you other guys, like, how do you guys feel about? And you don't have to, you can just tell like how it feels to do those kind of things, like Popeyes and personal notes.
This is my whole jam. This is like the thing that I've always kind of done. Yeah, I'm Disney trained,
Oh yeah.
But really, it's just like I've always done these little things just for friends and family, and it's just kind of it's my whole thing.
So nice that you found yourself in a career that really that works.
Right.
Yeah. Who else? Paul, how's this stuff for you?
It's good. The one thing that's a little bit weird is the pop buys.
Yeah.
The notes are fine, and I'm used to doing that and phone calls. But the pop buys are the one thing that's like new to me, but yeah. I'm getting used to it. I like this week's and what it made me think, and that I want to do. And we've done this in some of the other businesses I've been involved in, but you just sit down and you make a list of all of your touch points with your customers and your clients. And then you purposely say, what is it that I can do to make this even better or really exceptional? So throughout the year, I'm generally going to communicate with them, 10, 15 touches, whatever it is. you can just look at it and say, what can really take this to the next level? So that's what watching this week make me think about.
Good. Fantastic.
Carol, I was just going to add, I think the thing that stuck out to me, not stuck, it stuck.
I think it's okay.
Is,
Stuck.
exactly. And it's been a pervasive, I think, theme in every one of these weeks has just been follow through and just making sure that as an agent, I think I wrote down how Brian said, you can't be a great realtor if you don't follow through. So just doing what you say you'll do, following through, making sure that, what is it? Under promise, over deliver type of situation.
Yeah.
Sticking with
Yeah.
that.
Floyd Wickman was the trainer I followed before Brian. He had core values that we had to repeat all the time. But one at the end of us, always do what you say you're going to do, sometimes more, never less. And it's very true.
You remember all those, Tim? That's great.
Yeah, you give by the giving philosophy. Give by giving. Make your client's number one goal your number one goal. Always do something. Yeah, it was 5 things, but they were on the back of my business card for a while because I.
That's great. I actually love those. I'd love to hear all of those. Yeah. And Floyd Wickman is like, nobody ever says anything bad about Floyd Wickman.
He's a good guy. Good guy.
In fact, a lot of people who are in Buffini were Floyd Wickman before. So it's very, very much matches. I think follow through is like, it's a good point that you're bringing up, Katie, because I think that's the place that it's the easiest to fall down. I know for me, not follow through in, hey, somebody wants to buy a house and, I'll stay with that. Sometimes I forget to touch base with people right after the transaction. It's like this uphill battle and they get to the top and you're like, wow, it's done. They're in the house. We've done our little thing. We always bring food over on the day of the or send it over COVID way. We either send sandwiches or pizza or whatever it is they want. And interestingly, most people don't want any good food. They just want something they can shove down and throw the bags away or throw the box away. Because we used to do like a big, beautiful, a bag of deli food, a really nice sourdough baguettes and fresh lunch meats and, not the stuff in the package. We'd go to the deli kind of stuff and, pickles and just like that stuff. And it was like too much, for them, like, just give me a freaking sandwich. I don't even care what's on it, just give me a big one so we can, shove food down or send stuff for moving. But, we get through that day. And then if it was me on that end, I kind of wanted to just be left alone because I got all these freaking boxes to empty. I've got all this stuff to do. And so I kind of have this tendency to think like, oh God, they're going to be like, you again? Like, seriously, like we're just trying to get our feet on the ground here. So I have those games that I play with myself, which is follow through. But actually you should follow through like within a few days. Are you guys still alive? Did anything leak when you turned it on? Those kinds of things. So I'm glad you brought up follow through because that could be a whole entire, we could do a whole entire ATA on what follow through looks like actually. Yeah. After the sale. Actually, that would be a really good ATA.
Carol, question for you. If you're opening the door to asking things like, is anything leaking? And they say, yes, it is. How do you then, I mean, what if they come back to you with, well, will the seller, fix it? That is it.
I don't say specific things like, is anything leaking or,
okay.
But just like, is everything okay? You guys doing okay? Do you need any? I will say though to them sometimes is, do you need any referrals to anybody? Sometimes when you get in a house, you go like, these blinds aren't good for, we want to change these blinds or things. I'll be very general in like adding to, and sometimes people do, but even if I don't call and they have a problem and they don't let me know, then they think I'm part of that problem. So I'd rather deal with it right now than have somebody who's pissed off later. Like you never even called us after this thing happened, or, you know, you did a shitty job. And yeah, so all of those.
Kathy, to your point, like if you're ever calling a client and you're just checking in to see how things are going, and, you know, and they start telling you bad stuff, things that are going wrong, whether you requested it or not, your job is just to be ready to respond. Ready to be the one that's there for them, no matter what happened, right or wrong, seller's wrong, seller's right. You are their friend and their number one support. This is a slightly different story, but at the same time, I think it's a good point. Is that years ago, this lady called me and she wanted to buy a house, and she was referred to me, yada yada yada, and she had been under contract with another realtor. She was under contract for about a week, and she backed out. She wanted to back out of the sale because she just simply was changing her mind. And she was wrong. She was wrong. She, you know, she knew that, but she had a little reason. I don't remember, something in the back of her head. She felt like she at least wanted to fight for her earnest deposit. And her agent was like, no, you don't get it back. You backed out. You backed out. And she was just disgusted by his lack of interest in helping her, whether she was right or wrong. So I ended up, you know, befriending her. I didn't go to court with her, but I just kind of guided her and helped her. And she lost her $1,000 earnest deposit. She knew she might lose her $1,000 earnest deposit. But she, more importantly, her agent lost her. And all he needed to do was just be by her side. Just literally say, we'll see what we can do. You know, I know you may lose this earnest deposit, but let's give it a shot. He didn't represent her well. And it's no different than after the closing. And when something goes wrong, don't hide. You want to be there. You want to be there. You want to help them. You want to be the first one they think about. And then I'll say this, because I do a lot of transactions. If it does get ugly, and let's just say that something really bad happens, and it turned out that the seller was lying about the basement leaking, and you have been helping them and helping them and helping them, trying to get the contractors out there, trying to be their friend, being their buddy. And it escalates to the point where they go to an attorney, because sometimes once in a while it happens. Usually the attorney says, okay, it's time to sue everybody, because everybody's got E&O insurance. And if you have been your client's best friend, they're going to say, no, I'm not going to sue my realtor. They have been trying to help me this whole time.
That is absolutely true. Tim, you know that the condo that you lived in, we sold. We just did a settlement on that. With and the buyer was, and the seller was not wrong. Our seller was not wrong. But the courts, just so you guys know, one thing you want to do is avoid anything going to legal as best as possible, and get Tim and or Tom involved immediately. Like if something looks like it's going south. So that's probably a good point that you brought up there too, is that not all agents understand, because you get those emails or you get that call and you're like, oh my God, this is just going to be hell. The courts lean in the direction of the consumer. I will tell you that. And whether you're right or wrong sometimes doesn't really make a difference. So this was about a disclosure, and everything that was known was disclosed. The buyer knew whatever it was after the closing, and they won. They didn't win, but attorneys tend to say, you know, we need to just settle. We need to settle, because if we go to court, you know, we got all more of these costs for the attorneys, and it's just best to settle, which can really piss you off, but you'll get drug into it. You as the buyer's agent never got drug into it, and the buyer's agent was actually the person that was at fault. Yeah, the buyer's agent was not named whatsoever. It was
probably because of what I just described. When it got ugly, the buyer's agent was like, I'm helping you. Yeah. And the seller, you know, they didn't sue her.
Yeah. So always, like what Tim said, is don't hide. Do not, which is the first thing you want to do. Well, maybe they'll go away. No, they won't. They won't. And don't hide. And that's also what you sell in your relational business is, I'll be there for you long after this transaction. You know, I'm your resource long after the transaction, and that's your golden goose that's going to give you future referrals. So
One other thing I'll just say, since we're talking about lawsuits, really quick, they're very rare. There's nothing I wouldn't, and it's one of the things that I see the most common in agents. They're just terrified of being sued. It's very rare to be sued. And the only reason you should ever be nervous is if you really, really did something wrong. Like you really fucked up. Like, you know, that it's our E&O insurance has broad coverage. You can be a bumbling idiot and get past things. The only reason you should ever be nervous is if you actually really truly did something wrong, and none of you are going to do that. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay, so follow through. That was an excellent point. Dennis, you were looking like you were going to talk over there.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to your pop by things, like the girly pop buys and stuff in general doesn't bother me. Well, that's kind of what but you know, to address, the only time that I really try to avoid that is when, you know, you have the manly man who's not going to respond well to that. But I did find something that, you know, and again, make sure that your client is somebody who drinks, but little tubes of whiskey. So this was,
Oh my God.
this was $25 for this. And so it's got 5 in there. So that's 5 pop
I'll be your
buys.
client.
Hey, let's stand and
Errol
have a
just
drink
perked up.
together. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's
So-
honestly, that's great. Yeah. And women drink bourbon too, by the way.
Right.
Just so you know. And
I'm
rye
not
and
gonna-
whiskey.
No,
You know-
I was just saying that's my way around the toxic masculinity you were
Yeah.
referring to there.
That's good.
Men can cry too. I don't know if did any of you guys hear that story that Brian once told about he had a guy that was the CEO of a bank, or he was the top of a bank, and he was having lunch with the guy and just talking about how life was, and the guy was, you know, he was a big tough man, but he was struggling because his child just went off to their last child just went off to college, and they were empty nesters, and I don't know if that was in this class now.
It wasn't in this class.
But he immediately went to Barnes and Noble. That was back when you had to physically go there. Bought a couple books on, you know, coping with being, you know, empty nester. Had his assistant carry him over there and drop it off. And that big tough CEO called him in tears and said, I just, you know, I really needed that, and that really meant a lot to me. And then years later, when the market crashed, Brian became that bank's #1, if I'm remembering this correct, foreclosure. He handled all their foreclosures, all because he bought the man 2 books and made the tough CEO cry. So there's always ways to make people cry, or at least get to them.
Yeah, at an emotional level. Yeah. Scott, what'd you get?
I think it kind of ties into the following through, but I like the daily updates on especially in the market that we're in now. If you're not making contact daily, then they're most likely missing out on stuff. So on the buyer side, especially.
Right, and you may be missing out. They may see something, or, you know, go to somebody may tell them about something, and, you know, be off on their way. You know, if you don't have that established right now, I think that we are probably we're at the highest value as buyer's agents that we've ever been. If you take care of your clients.
Right.
If they see you as being the person who is their trusted advisor and they trust you. That's why I don't mind going through a transaction with a buyer that they don't get it, is because you kind of get a dress rehearsal with them of, even if they didn't do all the things that you told them to do, they now see that you've got a lot of tools in your belt that can work. And it changes people. I hate doing that, you know, throwing one under the bus, but this is really kind of that market that I think if people actually are able to shift and switch between offers that they make and do something different, then I think you have more chance of having to write less offers. But if they keep on writing the same one with that same group of people, you know, you get 25 offers here. One person gets it. So now you have 24 people. They move to the next really cool house. And then a few more people get added. And then another one comes out. They go to the next one. Something has to change in there because whatever it is that's winning there's going to be another one that does that until you've eliminated everybody. So if they can shift in any way, that's great tactic. So, Jennifer? What
Yep.
you got?
Yep. So kind of, ditto everything everybody's been saying, but a thing that I've been finding that has been really beneficial is, so like I have a buyer right now that he's single and he likes to, single life, single social life. So when we're looking for homes, I'm showing him different areas that have, entertainment for him to do, and then finding out what he likes, and then giving him, different kind of secrets about the spots and stuff like that. And then making sure that when I see something about an area of the town that he likes, I send him different things about, there's an event going on in this area, just those types of things to kind of build that overall rapport from a customer service perspective.
Okay.
So that's
who hasn't?
Can I piggyback on that?
Yeah, please do.
So that when my clients end up buying a house, then I try and for a closing gift, like I had a single guy get a house on like 20th and Martha. For his closing gift, I went over to Stoysich House of Sausages and got him a gift card, just something that was right there, local business in the neighborhood, for his closing gift.
And who doesn't like?
It sounded like you needed to get him a car alarm.
Yeah, no joke. Well, the part of the reason we got that house was because it had a giant, oversized 2-car garage. So I don't know why. I don't know why it wasn't in the garage, but he said it was just a putting around vehicle. It was just a crappy like $1,200 Jeep, but still.
Those are very popular.
His truck and his bike were in the garage. His tools are in the garage, and it just was unfortunate that he left it out that night.
Yeah. Wow. Well, who doesn't like Stoysich sausage?
Mm-hmm.
My daughter and son-in-law bought a rental house right next door to the Stoysich sausage, and my son-in-law was like super happy about being next to the sausage factory. They're not from here. They're from someplace else. And I just laughed. He goes, "No, I seriously, I want this house." So, because the sausage factory's next to it, so some kind of badge of honor. But that's great. That's really good thinking in tying somebody into the community too. Because even in the most, the communities that have the biggest challenges with thefts, obviously. There are people who are, there are people and community members who are trying to help the communities and work in them and have businesses. And I think that's a really, really good idea. Did everybody get a chance to say something here? I want to know what your definition of customer service is. Nothing. You got nothing?
Providing your customer what they want and need, sometimes even when they don't know it's what they want or need. So Tim, my guy on 20th and Martha, when he had his car stolen, that's outside my realm and outside my expertise. But as soon as I read his post on Facebook, I was in my text and asking him for a picture of the car and anything he could tell me, and just saying, I can't promise anything, but, realtors drive around a lot. I can at least put it out there to the group and let him know I was thinking about him, and let him know that I'm going to do what I can to help him find his Jeep, even if it never turns up.
You tried.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's extraordinary extra. Like you didn't have to do any of that. And even if nothing comes of it, the efforts, I think being rewarded for the efforts is really what happens with people, that they're not really, if you ask a buyer or a seller, what is it that you expect from your realtor? Like, what are their expectations? What would you think would be their expectations?
Well, I don't know if this is what they would be thinking of, but I always try to kind of see a step ahead And maybe that means I need to do a little bit more educating or coming up with some ideas for them before they've actually come against a problem, so that we've had a chance to discuss some things that may go their way or may not. That's all that's really coming to mind, other than, you know, surprise and delight for the kind of the fun stuff. But in terms of actual customer service, it's responsiveness and education and creative planning.
Okay, what else do you guys think that customers expect from you?
Of course, the second I unmute it, the dog's going nuts, but just to be their advocate and to be their expert, to know things that they shouldn't have to know as a consumer, but that is going to be beneficial to them as they are buying or selling.
Okay, what else? Paul, what do you think customers expect of you? What do they think customer service is?
I think in the real estate business, meeting expectations for most clients means that in anticipation of a transaction, that you're helping them manage through that, you know, by handling all of the administrative stuff and all of the communication with them. I think what's interesting about real estate and customer expectations is so much of the value that can be provided is outside the scope of the transaction. And that, you know, a lot of, you know, what's really beneficial for us to figure out is our positioning and helping people understand the additional value that we can provide to them.
Anybody else want to add to that? What do you think customers expect of you?
Yeah, I'll just kind of piggyback on what Paul was saying about communication. I've had, just from my own experiences before I was a realtor, I've heard, you know, complaints about, I'll ask, well, how's your house doing? Have you had any interest? And people say, well, I don't know what's going on. So just having that constant, you know, set time and communication, making sure that your clients know what's going on at all times and giving them any updates, even if you don't have anything to, even if you haven't had any interest, just saying, you know, this is what I'm doing to create interest. And so just keeping that communication with them so they always feel like they're aware of what you're doing to market for them or help them find a house.
Okay.
That is totally true. Totally true.
Yeah.
I will tell you, when you're working with a seller and a property is not selling fast, which will happen, you either have a listing that isn't hotcakes, or one that just happens to sit for a while, or the market will eventually turn a little bit. The best thing you can do is be proactive and letting them know what's going on. We've all heard that, you know, a phone call to a client, proactive phone call will take a couple of minutes. A return phone call, because they called you first, will take 15 to 20 minutes. So, when the times that when the market was different and I would struggle, or even now I have listings that, you know, that just sit, just calling the seller and just telling them what you got going on, even if there's nothing to report, is critical.
Yeah, I think that's my experience, and from things that I've learned and listened to. One of the most important things that I hear on almost every single transaction is one of the biggest pieces of expectation that they have of us is to keep them safe. They want to feel safe, whether it's a buyer. I can't tell you the number of buyers that when they explain to me what they want in a house. And I always have buyers do two lists. One is the negotiable. These things are negotiable. And then another list is these things are non-negotiable. And one of the things that always ends up on the non-negotiable list is a safe neighborhood. Want to be in a safe neighborhood. And that is a tough thing to respond to, because I can't tell them what is a safe or unsafe neighborhood. I ask them what's their definition of safe. What does that look like for them? But then I also give them a link to safe, I think it's called Safe Neighborhoods or crime reports for Omaha. I give them that, and I give them school things because they have to look those things up themselves. But I think that's one of the biggest things. And so not just safe in where they're going to live or that their home is safe while they're listing it, but also safe in, and this is a big responsibility, safe in, do I know everything I'm supposed to know? They don't know what they don't know. And one of the big mistakes that realtors make is somebody who sold a house 4 or 5 times, and you assume that they understand everything, and you skip some of your steps. That's one thing that I would say is you don't ever want to skip your steps, particularly with disclosures, or if you and then ultra don't skip anything if you are dual agent. Dual agency is a really big responsibility, and it's high risk. That's why so many people will bring somebody else in on a dual agency, rather on something that looks like it's going to be dual agency, rather than do it themselves. So just don't assume. I think anything that clients will tell you what they need from you. And in order to be that trusted advisor, you kind of have to give them a dress rehearsal and really listen to the things that are the most important to them. And communication, just like Tim said, you're in so much better shape if you throw the ball than if you have to catch it, because there's nothing worse than getting a call and you just forgot, or you just got busy and you didn't have your follow-up written, or you didn't have a system in place, and somebody calls you and says, like, it just doesn't seem like you care, like you're not taking care of me. And my sister's realtor, took care of her, or you just don't want to be in that position because you can't get out of it. Once that doubt is in their minds, then it's very, very hard to get out of it. So own it, be the one that make the tough calls, always make the tough calls, and then go a little bit farther. Even after you've made a tough call or something has happened, it doesn't hurt to send them something. Send a personal note at the very least. Promise you I'm not gonna, drop the ball. I mean, just, be vulnerable, because that's really what they need from you. Vulnerable and trusted advisor are two things that can blend both. So the other thing that I wanted to see if you guys are doing any of it is some of the suggestions that he made about what unexpected extras are. Tim, I don't know if you listened to this one. But
I have in the past, but I didn't listen to this.
He talked about the wrapping the front doors, sending a homemade meal. That's Mary Beth, is the sending the homemade meals, client parties, different kinds of gifts, doing things like automatically when you go into escrow with somebody who is either a buyer or a seller, you can order return address labels for them. That's a super easy thing. You can actually do them on the printer. You can do them yourselves and send them over. Something like that is just like, oh my God, this is something really that I wasn't expecting. I was going to do it for myself. The wrapping of the front door has been something that agents have been doing for a while. Have any of you done that? Done a bow on a front door? So one of the things he did say though is, we as buyer's agents, we've been doing it for our clients, but he suggested the seller's agent do it for the buyer coming in. Tim, do you do that?
No, that's a good idea.
But I thought, isn't that a great idea? Yeah. Like, do it for the new buyer coming in. That would be the shits, to actually drive up to your client's house and the seller's agent wrap the door. So yeah, which kind of makes you feel like, oh, geez. Yeah. So things like that. I thought those were some really good ideas. What about you guys? What did you glean anything from that, or have you done any of those things that he was talking about?
Not that he was talking about, but like one of my clients' son, they had wanted to be in a new home for their son's first birthday, and they're not gonna make it. So I listened to the types of things they like, and they like Star Wars, so I bought him like those little Porg plush toys that I'm gonna deliver on their next showing tomorrow. So I'm gonna be like, sorry, we didn't get in there in time, but
but when they do, you could also put those Star Wars things in the ceiling of his room.
Yeah.
That'd be really cute, because I think they have like the little things that hang down from the ceiling. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. So listen to, giving gifts to the kids. Oh my God, that's like and when they're looking at even when they're out looking at houses, like we had clients last week that came up from Kansas City, 5 kids, 5 little. And nobody had any control over the kids, all like under 6 years old or something. If you bring something for the kids, we just happened to have our Popeyes that we were doing at the time for Easter. So we got those and brought those to the kids, but bringing something for the kids to do, a book, a color book, something, that's also little unexpected. You can have that stuff in your trunk. So there's all kinds of ways to do it, but just having a lockbox key is not going to get you longtime clients.
I was telling a lot of people may have seen this, but Rhonda puts this together for me. But what I do for a closing gift with my sellers is we take all the professional photos and turn it into a coffee table book. So it's all the photos of the home, because people typically loved their home. It's branded, and they want something to. It's got the address on the edge. It's just, and then oftentimes this guy moved away fast. I never gave it to him. So I just kept it for our shelf. And then I do a personalized note on the inside, just saying, it was wonderful to work with you, blah, 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 blah. So
that's a great gift.
Like that.
We, as buyer gifts, we did this, and we haven't done it the last year or so, there's a company in Oregon that gets they have river rocks, and these are like huge boulder kind of river rocks, and they do the etching on them. And we had a design done with a house, and it says life is good on the bottom, but it says the Hirsch family on the top, or Jane and Jim and Pat or something, like the names on it. And then on the back, they etch that our names on the back of the rock. But the cool thing about that is people put it on their front porch. And so that when their friends come, they see it on the front porch. I love this. It's so cool. They do it with sandblasting, the etching. It's about $120 sent delivered, but for a good sale, and somebody that's going to be a future referral person, it's a fantastic thing to do. I'll send you a picture of what it looks like. And the company has been there for years and years, but they actually come from the Rogue River in Oregon, these rocks. And so they have a little story behind them. So something that has some meaning. It doesn't have to be that much money, but something that has some meaning to people. A lot of people do like the mats for the front porch, such and such family, things like that. But think deeply into, would this be something that somebody would keep, or would it be another one of those things that, gets put from one drawer to in the next, or they don't know what to use it for. So being thoughtful in that, I think, is super, super important.
I'll piggyback off that real quick.
Yeah.
So something that I found that has been my favorite gift for closing is custom cornhole boards with my name and logo on the bottom, because those come out at every barbecue, every family event, every party. Those come out. I only do them for the little more expensive, because they're about $200. They're like $270 now that lumber's so expensive, but people absolutely love those. Like if they're big sports fans, put the team on them. Husker fans, put a Husker logo on them, and then just put my logo in the corner. But those have been a huge hit.
They're $270 now?
They are now, yeah.
Oh my God. Can you get the plastic ones?
Yeah, I've been trying to find somebody cheaper, but those wood ones just last so much longer, and they're the
Yeah.
real, the regulation size and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
those have been a good one.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great idea. But yeah, that's an expensive one. Anybody else have any ideas on closing gifts that have worked or?
A couple
Well,
really
I don't have
popular
anything
ones I've done are, oh, sorry.
Go
A
ahead, Katie.
couple- Oh, sorry, Rhonda. Go on ahead. It's okay.
No, you go.
Okay.
Go ahead,
A couple popular ones I've done have been, I pay attention if a home has a Ring doorbell or not. So I've done a couple Ring doorbells for folks who don't have one already, and they love that. And then whenever they hear their doorbell or think about their, using their Ring,
Yeah.
then hopefully they think of me.
Ring doorbells are a really good one too. And I know Costco once a year has them on sale for like $70 or something, like $50 off.
That's right now.
I bought several of them. Huh?
That's what I did at Christmas time. Just bought several.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's, just about, everybody wants something like that. And even if they have one, they can put one in the back of their house. So, Rhonda, go ahead.
Oh, I think somebody touched on it earlier, but I can't stress enough the importance of remembering kids and animals in your closing gifts. Like I had a family that we just finally got an accepted contract. I got a bunch of balloons. I went to the house and they answered the door and I'm like, can I talk to Liam? And I gave the balloons to the kids. Said, congratulations, you're getting a new house. So then in the closing gift, I don't have a standard. I wish I did, but I don't. But I always have a standard for when there's kids involved. I always get them a book, welcome to your new house book. I can't remember the name of it. And like sidewalk chalk and things like that for the kids. And if they have dogs, I always give them, our branded leash and whatnot, and like a guide to the local dog parks, etc. But that's what people really talk about, and what I see people reiterating to their friends and neighbors. Oh my gosh, they did this for my kids. They did this for my dogs. So that's really, really important.
Yeah.
And I've seen that just travel far.
Sending personal notes to the kids. Honestly, you know how many times kids run out to the mailbox and they get some mail like once every 6 years, when they're little. Sending personal notes to kids is the easiest thing to do, and it costs whatever a stamp costs now. I don't even know what do the stamps cost, because I have the forever ones.
55 cents.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. Yeah. So paying attention to kids is really, really a good one. So
somebody hasn't been keeping up on their personal notes. If you didn't know the cost of stamps.
I just buy I don't even buy them. Like, Laura or Max goes to the post office and they're the forever ones. So I just give the credit card.
I was going to show you guys. I bought myself a closing gift from when I listed my own house because I really loved it, and I knew I would miss it, so I did the drawing, the watercolor.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So yeah, I have this hanging in my new house, and it was who is that? I think she's from NP Dodge, Julie,
yeah, Hergert.
Yeah, she did this for me, and she just drove by my house. So she took her own pictures, and she included, if you see close, it even has like the little lions in the front and my little planters and everything. It's really cute, but she
That's
did
great.
What
What
did
did
it
it
cost
cost to have those done?
I think this was 100.
Yeah, I think I remember her, somebody talking about that. That's not really a lot to have something like that done. Yeah, that's great. And Tim has the book, all those kinds of things mean something in reality to people. It's part of their transition that they made. So that's great. Anything else anybody wants to add? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say with Bridget, if I would have been your client and had that on, I would have done two, one for your old house and one for your new house, because people want to see they want to remember their old house.
True. So. Yeah. Well, this was my old house. So.
But that was your old house. Okay, got it.
It was. Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Good job.
Great. Okay, you guys, we're gonna wrap it up. 2 minutes to 12. Thank you. We'll see you all next week. If you need anything in between, please let us know. Tim, you got anything?
Nope, that's it. Next week's our final class. Everybody be here.
Wrap it up.
See you later.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye.